ABUC.TV.
Welcome back to the Australian Championships of Beach Ultimate here at Coolangatta on the Gold Coast. I'm your commentator, Rob Swan, here with my co-host, Max Stenstrom. How are you doing this morning, Max?
Thanks, Rob. It has been a beautiful morning today as compared to yesterday. Yesterday was a little overcast, drizzly on and off. Today has been sun's out, blue skies as far as you can see. It's just gorgeous weather in Coolangatta, and we're loving it.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. The Ultimate's been very, very good. We've getting towards the pointy end of the competition here. A lot of the placings in the pool play almost decided so far, so we've just got a couple of games left to go in pool play. In each of the pools, a lot of the teams locked up, a lot of the number one slots locked up. Of course, the first and second team in each pool going through to semi-finals, and all the other teams playing consolation placing games. Coming up in this game, we've got Scott Perry's team. Do you know anything about Scott Perry's team?
I do. I was very lucky. I got to watch them play yesterday, and it is a high-octane brand of Ultimate. There's no shortage of tallness on this team. Plenty of guys well over that 6-foot mark, and they have no hesitation in bombing it to them, expecting them to make the plays.
Absolutely. It's classic Townsville Ultimate coming from far north Queensland. Very exciting and loose brand of Ultimate. Coming up against I Don't Like Sand, a ragtag, a bunch of scoundrels from Sydney. They're a very fun team, and they're here to have a really good time, and they've been putting all their efforts in that direction so far.
From all accounts, they've been doing it well as well, and not holding back on the frisbee field either. I was able to catch a little bit of them earlier. Plenty of bodies flying sideways and hitting the floor, so it should be fun to watch.
Absolutely. Be good or be good at it, and they have definitely chosen to be good at it. So it's going to be exciting to see what they bring in this matchup and how they go against the Northerners from Townsville. Running a little bit behind time, these teams both coming off the back of very long games in the previous slot, so we'll be getting underway in just a couple of minutes.
As we're speaking, we've got a bit of a breeze coming, picking up this afternoon. We'll see whether that continues to strengthen as the afternoon develops longer, and we'll see how these teams adapt to it. Whether the tall timber of Scott Perry's team is able to be the decisive factor, as discs tend to float more and hang up there and turn into a bit of jump ball situations.
Yeah, it's going to depend on the throwing skill and what their handlers are looking for in each of these teams. So it's going to see a lot of height on this female side of this I Don't Like Sands team. Looking pretty athletic. A number of these players playing club Ultimate, typically on grass, but nonetheless ready for a bit of competition.
It'll be contrast to styles, as Scott Perry's team yesterday looked to predominantly run through their men as their primary options in most situations. We'll see whether that athletic women cohort that you're talking about on I Don't Like Sand is able to take advantage of that and exploit that weakness in the Scott Perry team's offensive style.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see. If I was I Don't Like Sand, I wouldn't be running through some of the men on my line. Hilarious bunch of gentlemen. An incredible bunch of women on this team. So, off for the action, and I Don't Like Sand is off the runs. Parker with the disc. Finds Gannon on the line. Gannon goes up line to Parker, showing remarkable pace. Shellard is out the back, and that is an incredibly low throw, asking a lot of his receiver. And Shellard with steps, but unable to get it.
Shellard, one of the quickest guys out there on the field at the moment. I imagine they'll continue to make use of his pace, offensively and defensively, as Anderson with the disc centers to Artega. Has De Hollander going deep, but chooses to go underneath instead. There's two De Hollanders on this line, as the other one gets it now, Agatha Hollander. Rob, her brother, took most of the height genes, it appears, but there's a fair share of skill in that family. As Anderson now looks deep for Agatha, it'll sit up, but read much better by the defender.
Yeah, it's an incredible block. Shen gets it there. She's using her length and athleticism. Gannon with the disc. I Don't Like Sand off to the races. Goes wide to Parker. Shellard with the disc now. Shoots right over the top of Parker. Doesn't take the open shot and is looking for Shen in the end zone, but looks like there's a bit of bump and contact there.
the throw was very deep regardless, and I think they'll decide it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's definitely Shen was attempting to cut, and she bumped into De Hollander from Townsville, but the right resolution was arrived at. Shellard putting that one well out the back of the end zone. Into the back of the end zone.
Scott Perry's team looking immediately deep to De Hollander, going back to the tried and true method, but Sam Shellard elevates underneath it and makes a great defensive play to deny Rob De Hollander the disc.
All right, this is yet another chance for I Don't Like Sand to push it down the field here. Branson brings the disc in, finds Gannon yet again, unguardable on these unders. Branson going on the line, well covered. Gannon finds Shen on the under. Shen to Branson. Shellard out the back again. Branson shoots.
Oh, another great effort from Shellard.
They are just throwing him some garbage. Really just putting it out in front with so much pace. They really could have put a bit more love on these shots, let him sit a bit. Shellard's got the athleticism to make those plays, but they're really asking a lot.
They're not making it easy for him at all. As De Hollander walks it back up. It's a good matchup, those two. And Anderson looks deep, and De Hollander delivers. He's got steps, plenty of space. He'll milk that one all the way for the goal.
That's great work. That's the kind of shots we're looking for out of De Hollander, the AFD's Male Player of the Year. Puts that shot up, puts a lot of pressure into the wind, and we can see that one sailing and sitting there. Anderson just had to pump his legs, get underneath that one, hop that in well. So great shot from De Hollander, and that's the kind of thing that I Don't Like Sand could be using to their advantage if they can set it up there. Of course, this wind going right to left on your screen is going to make those shots that we were seeing from I Don't Like Sand sit longer, sail further, and ultimately just be harder to reel in.
Adjusting to the wind has been a bit of a challenge for all teams this weekend. It's been inconsistent and variable, making it difficult to get a sense of what it's going to do to your throws as you release them. But it's very much separated the wheat from the chaff in terms of who has that throwing capability to cut through the wind and deliver the disc the way they want to deliver it.
All right, so I Don't Like Sand is now coming out on offense here, going a little bit into the wind. So let's see if that's going to affect their throwing decisions at all. As Kelly finds Newen. Newen finds Mooney on this close sideline here. Mooney back to Newen. No options at the moment. Kelly open on the slash cut. Well, no long cutters at the moment. Goes back to Newen. Around to Casilla. Casilla with the disc. Looks off that reset, takes a time, goes wide. Perez with a disc. Leong, sorry. Leong finds Mooney. Bit of traffic there, but I Don't Like Sand advancing well. Mooney finds Kasuya, or puts it out in front. Leong's there. Can she bid? Oh, I can't quite make the grab. So Kasuya looking a little bit rushed right out the front there on the end zone line.
And appears to have made a call. Doesn't like the attention that she was getting from Lee. Defensively, maybe a bit of contact.
Yeah, I think definitely if she was knocked over early and that prevented her getting a really good run at that disc, be some merit to that one. But they'll have a chat about it and see whether or not the contact affected.
Both teams just sticking to relatively vanilla offensive styles, working out of a vertical stack. Though at that point, I Don't Like Sand being forced to dump and swing a fair bit. Scott Perry's team doing a good job of shutting down the downfield options.
And it looks like that'll be an uncontested foul. And Leong will bring up the disc in at the front of the end zone. He's got Mooney in space. Not a lot of separation here. Goes wide to Kelly. Nice diving grab. Looking for separation. And that one's deep as he looks for Newen. And Scott Perry's team are really just attacking down the field here.
Chang cut that out nicely, saw it coming seconds before it was thrown, was able to get in front Sibley now struggling to find an option. Finds Chang again. She's doing work now. Looks long. Has the tall timber of Hamilton underneath it. He leaves his feet but can't make the grab. Does get a hand to it. Fingertips on the frisbee. But not enough. Hamilton, another one of those big boys on this team.
Yeah, they were looking for him there, but I think it was coming quite late. He wasn't quite ready for that one, so forced to make a tough bid at it.
Would love to see throws to players like Hamilton be a little bit higher and loftier, not try and lead them out in front, take advantage of their natural height advantage.
And we'll see how he goes. I don't like Sand advancing well. Kasuya puts that one out in front, and Mooney can't read that one. He just runs deep underneath that, and then it goes over his head. So a couple more steps might have given him a better read. Scott Perry's team going the other way.
Hamilton finds Sibley in the centre. Bowden off the front of stack having to work hard as his lead, but there's a pick call. There's a nice little screen set by Bowden on the way through, but of course in ultimate that's not allowed. Bowden with the disc. Surveys the downfield options. It's a little bit chaotic, but Lee comes back underneath. Now Hamilton provides the option to Bowden. Advancing it up the field, marching consistently and patiently. Things tighten up now. Has to reach out in front of Hamilton. But that's a difficult shot straight down the line.
Leading downwinder with not a lot of space to loft it into. It's always going to be a very difficult shot.
Would love to see that cut from Hamilton be set up a little bit further back in towards the centre of the field, giving a bigger throwing channel for Bowden to hit him in, rather than running straight past her shoulder on the way through.
Yeah, might have liked Bowden to fake that one off and then go and try and attack the around there. But here we go. I don't like Sand going into the win here. Kelly overshoots Leong on the first pass of their possession, so not connecting a lot, but at least moving the disc to about halfway.
And it's early in this game, but we're still already seeing plenty of turnovers. The day and a half of hard-running ultimate on beach that we've seen so far is taking its toll as they reach immediately for Hamilton. That's a difficult, visionary shot. The fat side forehand over the stack, straight into the breadbasket of Hamilton.
Yeah, real close. You could see there were a lot of players from I Don't Like Sand who are very close to that. Really, definitely would have been able to make a play at it, but not quite the vision or communication. And that one drops into the waiting hands of Hamilton.
So that's 2-0 lead to Scott Perry's team. I Like Sand yet to make their mark on the scoreboard. But the action has definitely been both ways. Both teams generating turns and at times playing really nice offense. Just struggling to convert from I Don't Like Sand. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that they're not fond of the surface that we're playing on.
Yeah, interesting. Not a lot of options here, though. This is a very sandy beach.
As beaches go, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I would say that the surface is almost entirely sand.
It's a bold choice for a team that doesn't like sand to opt to play the beach championships. But
yeah, but you know, that's what they say. A mental strength game. Focus in on as much on the things that you can't control. Really just throw yourself against the brick wall that is the conditions as much as you can.
And someone who has been throwing themselves around is Sam Shellard, who will bring this disc in.
Taking more of a handler role in this position here. Let's see if he's got skills with the disc as well as athletic plays in the end zone.
He's clearly fed up with the garbage that was being thrown to him. Decides to have a go throwing garbage himself.
Finds Doe to Shen to Gannon. Looking good out front here. Goes wide, Shellard again, available. Oh, fakes the big around, takes the second option. And that's a great goal from I Don't Like Sand. They're on the board here. They don't lose their stuff, but they do lose their shirts. Liam the first to get undressed, and they are running around. They're happy about that one. That's good to see some fire in them, and that's a 2-1. Scott Perry's team still up.
Saw Shellard move from that downfield position into the handler space to great effect. A lovely around fake, got the marker bidding, and then he threw it over their limp body for the goal.
You don't beat him the first time, you can beat him the second time. There's always a danger to laying out of the mark. As much as you might get one sweet hand block in every 10, you often leave your thrower without a force. So Get a bit punished for that there, but I don't like saying happy to capitalise. Scott Perry's team with another chance at downwind offense here. This wind is picking up a little bit. I think it's definitely going to start affecting games more and more as we go through the tournament.
We'll see how the Scott Perry's team matches up on Sam Shellard. He's been important for this I Don't Like Sand team so far. Whether they can get an effective matchup on him that's capable of guarding him in the downfield space as well as using his length on the mark will be decisive.
Absolutely. Branson with a pull for I Don't Like Sand, and Scott Perry's team off on offense here.
Arteaga with the disc, playing that quarterback role as he looks deep for De Hollander. Doesn't have enough sit. Plenty of edge on that one will mean it knifes into the ground and doesn't wait for De Hollander to run onto it.
Ewan bringing the disc in here for I Don't Like Sand. Takes a nice early inside there. Lynn goes to Branson. Branson pops that one into the air, but Kasuya.
Lee goes horizontal.
Great bid from her. Kasuya, great patience there. She's known for it. Branson with the disc in the center here. Finds Parker. Elects not to throw the leading pass. Takes a little bit of a time here. Resets to Newen. Newen to Kasuya on the sideline. Kasuya, big fatty inside. Sails over the head, and there was room for a second effort, but just a head dip there, and then they were out of it straight away. So Scott Perry's team gifted the disc.
And Anderson will look to take advantage as he finds De Hollander in plenty of space in the center. And reaches for Lee, who leaves the feet again, but not able to hold on.
A lot of athleticism, a lot of bids here from this Scott Perry's team. It's good to see. As Parker from I Don't Like Sand picks it up. Looking to do something at the start. Completes one pass. It's great. Branson floats that one up. It's only a little bit floaty, but it's a lot pacey. And it's just out the front of his receiver.
It was a bold shot down the line. Expecting a lot.
I don't hate the option, but the execution just has to be absolutely spot on for that one there. And the slightest mistake, and Scott Perry's team has the disc again.
I've just noticed emblazoned on the back of Scott Perry's team's jerseys is the line, faster on sand than on land.
Interesting. Most people might describe sand as a form of land, but puns know no bounds as Branson snatches the disc for I Don't Like Sand, and they're advancing it, swinging well. Parker goes inside, floats that one in the air.
Second, third, fourth attempt. No one able to reel that one in.
Well, they're making a great attack at it. You can hear all these calls of shame coming from the sideline. It's a interesting team dynamic, but it is a beautiful pink cape. Scott Perry's team just being given the disc over and over again, so it's getting a bit sloppy in this fourth point of the game here.
Arteaga immediately fires to De Hollander. That's a laser.
And not adjusting their throws at the moment and just content to continue putting this one out the back. It's the usual suspects, gripping it and ripping it. They're not the ones that have to do the running, so there's no real issue, I think.
Though that time you saw De Hollander quickly realize that that disc was going nowhere near her and pulling up early.
Got to save your legs, you know. Get into a tournament like this if you want to win those final placing games. Win the last game, finish on a W.
Everyone likes to finish on an odd placing, meaning that they won their final match. Finish on a high.
Absolutely. Parker with the disc, bringing it in here. Elects not to shoot the first option. Branson's free out the back. Finds Kasuya on the under. Kasuya finds Parker. He's got Branson going deep, and that is tipped.
Almost gave him an opportunity.
These throws from the I Don't Like Sand handlers are coming spicy and low and sharp and just making life incredibly difficult for our receivers.
Anderson blatantly looks up a wide open Arteaga for the inside shot to Lee instead. Nice switch by I Don't Like Sand, makes life difficult. The thrower initiated pass to Arteaga, but
yeah, not likely able to get that one. Enough of a pop there to get contested. His players are off to the races here as Parker gets the disc on this far sideline and puts that one again. At least there's a decent amount of love on that one. He's got his friend in the end zone. Gavin Lynn with the goal. I don't like sand. It's really sandy and grainy and it gets everywhere. It's not like Padme at all.
I've got to say, both of these teams have upped the game in terms of post-goal celebrations. Best I've seen all weekend by far.
Absolutely. They've definitely put a focus on this one. It's got to be one of the core values of a team is post-goal celebrations. And you might say that's a bit hubristic for a team that hasn't traditionally scored a lot of goals, but take your victories where you get them. And look, celebrate hard. It's 2-2.
If your goals are memorable, you don't need to score that many to stick in the mind. And I don't like sand. Definitely pulling out the different tricks when it comes to post-goal celebration. We've seen the tops off. We've seen the driving a car that time. We'll see what we get into the future.
Yeah, I think they're going for quality over quantity. You know, if you really build the experience out of a goal, it doesn't matter that you're only going to get a couple. That being said, 2-2 in this game. It's been a little bit sloppy, but it might turn out to be a bit of a grinder. Might favour the more athletic team, and yet to be decided. There's definitely seen bodies flying everywhere and bids coming out from both of these teams, so it's going to be interesting to see who can maintain that level of intensity down the stretch.
As we look to the Scott Perry's team now, it's not often that you look at a line of Frizzy players and say Rob de Hollander may only be the third tallest guy out there. Scott Perry himself, the titular man on this team, and Hamilton towering above the rest of their comrades on the field.
And it's something in the water in Townsville. Not sure if it's
Human growth hormone.
lead.
Or that.
Either way, de Hollander, previously of the under-24 mixed team, the Blue Bottles, doing a lot for that team, is abandoned the traditional sleeves and is now bringing the disc in here for Scott Perry's team. Shoots long immediately.
That's flat. Perry's fast. And he does hold on. That's an impressive chase down. Seen a lot of players struggle to make that grab, but he makes it easy and finds DePernal wide open in the front corner of the end zone for the little flip.
Wow, that's incredible work by Scott Perry there. There was not a lot of options, not a lot could be done, and then Rob de Hollander does what he does less, uncork that very low penetrating flick, and getting away unpunished for that early offensive stagnancy there.
We've been talking about how a lot of the deep shots have been low and fast and how they need to change it up. Maybe it was just a case of waiting till you got your fastest receiver out there, really turning on the jets and reeling that one in with a great athletic play. You see why they name a team after him with plays like that.
Absolutely. Truly inspirational stuff, but it's only got them a 1-point lead. It's 3-2, and I don't like sand will be coming out on offense here as we come into the first of 2 3-lady points. It'll be interesting to see how the dynamics of these team changes and whether they've got more male or female handlers, more male or female receivers. Of course, this format benefiting more balanced teams, more adaptable, more flexible teams.
And that's a nice looking pull. Will it land in? No, just a touch out the back.
Yeah, maybe it's just my vision here, but apparently these fields are ever shrinking in size, and it's well into the afternoon of day 2 here, and people haven't yet adjusted their pull and seem very content to throw them well out the back. Maybe they just enjoy the nice walk up the field.
Vertical stack in the center of the field.
Kelly brings in the disc. Patience here. It's a great grab there. Finds Lim in the center of the field. Advances again. Kasuya with the disc. Looks to shoot the flick, but that one just unable to hold its edge in the wind. Scott Perry's team with a chance.
Arteaga been playing all weekend long with his Bunnings sun hat. Both admirable from a skin protection perspective and also just the ability to keep the hat on his head. He looks long. Hamilton's in the vicinity, as was Bowden, but neither able to get there in time.
Yeah, could have waited a little bit longer. Hamilton definitely had steps on his defender, and as Liam gets the disc here, and I don't like sand advance up the sideline, just a bit too tall for Shen.
Hamilton's got a huge height mismatch, but Arteaga refuses to throw to it. And now he goes to him underneath. And Hamilton juggles, bobbles, holds on and toes it in. And he goes with the hammer instead over the top. A diving Lee's. Her momentum was going in the other direction initially. Apologies, that's Fleming.
Yeah, she made a good effort at it, but it was a little bit behind her, and she couldn't quite make the backwards jump to get her hands around it. Kelly's going to bring the disc in here, so I don't like Sand playing with two boys behind the disc and three ladies cutting out in a vert. As Shen and Kasuya go in at the start, and Kelly takes the swing. Doe with the disc. Finds Kasuya. Resets to Doe. Goes up to Kelly. Shen's out the back. Turns under. Goes inside in the middle. It's a great play. Shen has the disc here on the sideline. Kasuya unable to close her hands around it. Thinking about the next throw, and De Hollander's off to the races.
She's head down, heading to the end zone, but no one's moving to the disc with any kind of urgency. Hamilton saunters over and launches a forehand to Ortega. He does a nice play. Leaves his feet to hold on to that one. And that's a goal.
That's a break. 4-2. Again, a 2-point lead for Scott Perry's team. So I don't like Sand putting in not the strongest offensive line on that point there. So able to get a couple of blocks, but not able to generate a whole lot of momentum, and just some cheap turnovers. Really yielding the disc back to Scott Perry's team, and after a couple of chances, they're able to throw that one in. So I think this I don't like Sand team is going to be wanting to limit the free shots that they give to Scott Perry's team. They're doing okay, but if they just keep giving them these free shots, Scott Perry's team are going to clean it up eventually and then put that in.
We're yet to see a turnover-free point. So
yeah, but it wasn't any good, even when they did not turn it over. It was just barely scraping through. But you know what they say? It doesn't have to work, it just has to be pretty. As Scott Perry's team coming out on defense here, looking to extend their lead. I don't like Sand. It's got the wind at their back for this offensive possession. It's dying down a little bit, but based on the gust, it's coming and going. As Tom Anderson delights the crowd by putting that one all the way into the vegetation.
Really getting the crowd involved. I like it.
Yeah, that's what you might consider being an ambassador for the sport. Instead of playing the game, just throwing the frisbee to the people who are nearby watching.
Saw a passing couple who'd clearly never seen frisbee in his life, saw an opportunity to spread the gospel of ultimate.
Someone's got to do it, and Parker's not doing it on the field right now as he overshoots Leong on that under. And Anderson with the disc for Scott Perry. Shoots immediately.
Backhand to a wide open receiver. Lee and Paddocks out the back. Left her defender looking like a garden gnome.
Unreal. That is a ruthlessly efficient punish. Great shot from Anderson going into the wind here. To his advantage to keep that one low and sharp as the gust came. And his receiver was already there. Very much expecting that shot. Straight to her chest. Easy goals. 5-2, Scott Perry.
Scott Perry having jumped out to this 3-point lead. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot in it. They've just been slightly more reliable in turning possessions into points on the scoreboard.
Exactly, and you know, the secret trick to winning a frisbee game is having more points at the end.
It's true, and we're still at the start, so anything can happen. I don't like Sand. Well and truly capable of making plays.
Absolutely, and there's only 3 points in it. We've got 15 minutes left to go in this game before time cap. So if they can put on a little run here, build a bit of momentum, could be off and charging. Branson finds Lim on the under. Lim looking for options here, finds Shen in the middle. Shen with a nice big fake, finds Branson. Branson's got options long, and he shoots. That's a creative inside out. That's sitting so well. Just in time for Kevin Lynn yet again to get his body underneath that one. And they're starting to close the gap here.
Oh, look at this celebration. How do we rate this? from what we've seen. Whipping of the horses, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely some amount of whipping going on. So I'd give it about 2 stars for technique, 3 stars for intensity, and 1 star for creative vision. But that's all right because they scored the goal and now they're just down by 2 and they've got themselves where they want to do. Forcing Scott Perry's team to go into the wind. They're definitely just need to put on a little bit of run and a little bit of energy and they could really, really make a game of this.
The wind is picking up slowly and consistently. It was predicted to reach highs of the mid 20 k's an hour. We'll see whether that eventuates.
It's definitely going to pick up later in the day. That sea breeze comes. I think the late afternoon games are going to be more affected. So it's going to make the conditions probably quite challenging for the finals and the semi-finals. But of course, elite throwers on the teams that are left at this late stage of the competition shouldn't be too troubled.
As Shellard pulls, he's a Canberra import for the I Don't Like Sand team, who's picked up with this Sydney-based team as he looked for an opportunity to get out of the miserable cold hellhole that is Canberra and chase some sunshine on the Gold Coast as they look deep over the head of Shellard, who's caught napping. Now look inside for Bowden.
And the eponymous Scott Perry takes that one out. That's a really, really good look. And Shellard not expecting that shot to go so high and then drift back behind him to the break side. Great throwing from Scott Perry handlers.
Just in the last 2 points or so, we've started to see some better shots being taken. First, that creative inside out backhand, and then the outside in over the head of the defender.
Yeah, the wind lightening up a little bit, but also these throwers choosing the right edge and really working out what the receivers are going to need from them as they go into the wind. I Don't Like Sand coming out on offense here. Going into the wind, and just as we say that, this gust coming again. So it's really a bit of a dice roll, to be honest, how strong this wind is. But put out quite a good offensive line here for I Don't Like Sand. Got some strong enough throwers to make this happen. If they can put the effort in and grind through these unders, it'll be easy as that one lands just inside the end zone. It's fielded by Parker. Goes to Nguyen. Nguyen looks off Kelly, throws straight to the other team.
Ortega cuts it out and immediately finds De Hollander for the quick goal. De Hollander loses his shirt, sprints off the other side of the field. Pants come off. He's heading for the water.
Boy's gone for a swim. And look, off racing like a truck. He's just really on fire at the moment. Someone needs to put him out. Hopefully he doesn't Harold Holt his way, and we'll see him later on in the game.
And he's in.
Got to stay hydrated, stay cool here out on Coolangatta Beach. As that's halftime. 7-3. Scott Perry's team taking a commanding lead in the second quarter of this game. Really sorted out their upwind offense, especially in comparison to I Don't Like Sand, who have faltered and every now and then showing that they've got what it takes to just calmly and cleanly put it in going into the wind, but not able to maintain that level of consistency that Scott Perry's team have.
And I'm now just watching Rob emerge out of the waves, reminiscent of Daniel Craig.
Absolutely. He's got the rig to match it as well.
What a sight to see. That's a whole lot of man, as I Don't Like Sand do their regular halftime boogie.
Amazing. It's an important agreement by the captains to give themselves the time and space they require to get out and dance around.
And that's the brief halftime over as both teams cheer and head back out onto the field to continue to do battle here at the Beach Championships.
Let's hope we can see a little bit of spark coming from I Don't Like Sand coming out in this second half, inspired by that dance. What can they bring?
This matchup determining their placings in their pool, and will determine what they're playing off for this afternoon. The placing matches will be in the following time slot, followed by semis at 2 o'clock and then the final at 3, all of which will be streamed live for your pleasure and enjoyment. So park yourselves wherever you are, don't go anywhere. There's lots of great Ultimate to be seen and enjoyed.
It's only going to get better as the stakes get higher, and only the best teams are left late in the tournament. Speaking of the best teams, I don't like Sand coming out on defense here, pulling into the wind. So Scott Perry have got the wind at their back. They're going to look to shoot long, but going downwind has been the downfall of many a long shooting team this tournament. So let's see if they can control it.
As they give go it up the center of the field, Sibley to Hamilton to Ortega. Looking to keep that tempo high. Back to Sibley. They're working hard. Bowden cutting. They don't want it. And now Hamilton shoots for Bowden. She's in space, but the throw is a little short. The wind pushing it down, as we talked about, the difficulty of throwing downwind.
Yeah, I was using that edge, interestingly. Just put a little blade on that. Could have given her a flat one straight to the chest, but shooter's going to shoot. Branson bringing the disc in here. Just in front of the bidding arms of Shellard. That's not a great connection off the first throw. As the hammer immediately goes up. Ortega's in the area, and Branson can't get there in time. So Scott Berry extending their lead, 8-3.
Ruthless with the disc in hand. Sibley picks it up, sees Ortega heading break side, and opts for the overhead. He's not intimidated by this breeze and finds a falling Ortega as he goes backwards and holds on to the disc for the goal. And they've built themselves a commanding 5-point lead here at 8-3 with only a couple minutes left to play.
It's pretty good. They're very, very strong here, and I don't like Santa keeping themselves in it here. They're close enough to get a point every now and then, but they really haven't showed the intensity that they're going to need to get a big step up here and start generating some real blocks on Scott Perry's team.
We're back into our 3 women rotation. We are, of course, playing the gender rule that requires 2 points of 3 women, 2 points of 3 men, and alternating throughout the game, ensuring everyone gets a fair go. Really, simple as that. It's
the best and simplest rule, of course. If you're just looking at the scoreboard, if it's even, you play the same ratio you did last point, and if it's odd, you do the other one. So nice and easy to keep track of, and no strategic decision needed to be made by the captain there. As Hamilton pulls it into the wind, and that one dropping around about the brick mark, giving I don't like Sand a bit of a short field to go. As Parker finds Doe. It's Parker, little 1-2, back to Doe. Parker doing his year's worth of running on this point. Goes around, doesn't pass to Doe, finds Kasuya on the open inside. Kasuya looks at the reset. Doe not open.
Felt like I don't like Sand had been inspired by Scott Perry's previous point with the give and go action to get things moving. And now Hamilton with the disc. DePerna's heading deep with plenty of separation, but they're not willing to take the shot. Anderson holsters. You could see him thinking about it. Now Hamilton heads deep. It's unlikely he resists that temptation as he shoots a flat laser, but it's onto Hamilton's chest. He has Chang in space, and he almost overthrows her. And he does.
That's not quite the completion they were looking for. Hamilton, obviously seeing there were no options, just screamed to the end zone, and Anderson was always going to throw that. Faked his mark and just managed to squeeze that laser past the stack. And then Hamilton just not rewarding him. Oh, as Kasuya floats it up, and it's just past the bidding arms of Doe. Anderson picks it up. Hamilton tracks it down. Gratuitous bid. And that's 9-3. Scott Perry's team.
Hamilton seeing an opportunity for a layout goal. Was never going to turn that one up.
Anderson doing a lot of work for Scott Perry's team at the moment. Really just pumping those shots into the wind and a lot of consistent deep threats, just like we talked about at the start of this game.
I don't like Sand preferring the short game, the small ball game, and it has been looking good, but of course when you play the numbers like they do, if you consider every pass as a roll of the dice, a percentage chance of a turnover, the more passes you take, the chances just build and multiply and add.
Yeah, the tossing turning point, if you assume a 85 to 90% completion on every throw, after about 12 or 13 plays, you get to about 50% likelihood that you're going to get a turnover within 12 or 13. So at some point, after a few throws back and forwards and not generating them with the handlers, better just grip it and rip it. Gannon has the disc here for I don't like Sand. Doesn't like your options. Finds Shen. Reaching for that one. Shen puts it up. Kelly's in the area, but it's behind him, and he can't snatch it up. So Scott Perry's team going downwind at yet again.
Ortega, De Holland is very deep, but instead looks for Perry or Fleming. Neither able to get there.
Yeah, Ortega really threading the needle between two receivers there. And I don't like Sand with half the field to go. It's not a super easy challenge. Nguyen with the disc here. Finds Shen on those unders. Nigh on unguardable. She's a huge deep threat, so generating herself a lot of space under. Pops it up. Finds Nguyen. Diving grab in the handler space. Nguyen puts it up. Kelly's unguarded out the back. Scott Perry coming for it. But Kelly, uncontested grab. And they keep that 5-point difference. That's 9-4 Scott Perry's team.
And they opt for the rock band celebration. That's nice. It's good, if not particularly original.
Yeah, it looked like execution could have been better as well. But creative vision is coming along, and I do admire their effort to come up with so many different ones. Of course, you know, a new one for every goal over a long tournament can be quite taxing on the old creative juices.
May explain their decision to only score 3 points this game so far.
Yeah, they're sticking to the core value of the team, which is intense celebrations. And don't want to burn themselves out, you know. Don't want to overcommit to this game and score too many goals. Scott Perry's team, freed up by their lack of intense goal celebrations, able to just take out a bunch of easy scores. So, and that's put them in a great chance to win this game of Ultimate, if not this game of who can do the best celebration.
So at 9-4, with time cap rapidly approaching, Scott Perry's team in the driver's seat. As that pull lands just inside the sideline, that's a nice one. And they'll get it moving through the hands of Sibley. Miscommunication to Anderson will give I don't like Sand a short field opportunity here.
Branson brings in the disc, goes inside to Mooney. Mooney looks around for Leong, it's in the air. Oh, that's a great grab! Leong goes up early and strong and takes the grab in the back of the end zone. I don't like Sand, not saying die. That is an unbelievable grab from Leong. And she's rewarded by being birthed. Truly disturbing as Leong is rebirthed as an incredible goal scorer.
And they have delivered a goal to their team.
Incredible. We've also managed to score yet another goal, which is something that we wanted to see out of them. And it's now a 4-point difference, 9-5 Scott Perry's team. More than likely Scott Perry's team hoping to just sort of ride this lead out, score a couple more goals, keep the game going, and just win it on time cap.
Speaking of time cap, Hooters due any moment now.
It'll go during this point for sure, so be a game to 11 or 10, depending on who scores this one. We've seen a lot of late game runs, though. A lot of teams in this tournament getting a little too relaxed after they get a lead. Don't want to see this from Scott Perry's team. They want to be executing this game. As soon as Huda goes and they get that game point, put it in ASAP. Don't let Unlike Sand make a game of it.
Shellard with the pull. De Hollander to field it. Gets it back from Perry, who immediately heads to that end zone. De Hollander leads him. That's a hot throw. Perry's in pursuit. Can he get there? Touch too far.
Yeah, really early and aggressive shot from De Hollander. If he gives even just another half second of that, that is an easy goal. So, and it's a brilliant play. I'm a big fan of the crispy.
The crispy?
Catch the ball, dish it to the center handler, run to the end zone, full field huck for a goal. Perfect goal. As Shellard shoots long, Doe's underneath this one. Very well read, just out the front of the end zone. He's got to convert on a short field. Looks around, he's got Kasuya and Shen cutting. And Shellard throws it, the hockey assist, catches the goal. And that is the funny number, 6-9. Scott Perry's team still with a lead here as the shirts come off again.
Look at that. This is what happens when you score too many goals in a game. You're forced to revert to celebrations you've already done. This is very embarrassing for I Don't Like Sand.
Yeah, the celebration game is really slipping. I mean, it seems like it's a bit of a zero-sum game. The better your celebrations are, the worse your ultimate playing is. So as their ultimate playing has gotten better and they've scored more goals, the celebrations have seen a corresponding drop. So really like to see them, maybe if they abandon the celebrations altogether, they could win this game. But you don't want to do that. You don't want to abandon the core values of your team just for one game.
I think you should play to your strengths, which with I Don't Like Sand clearly is the celebrations as opposed to the ultimate. And now Scott Perry's team with another opportunity to play some Frisbee. They've been doing it all weekend. They'll do a bit more this afternoon.
Good fun for all involved. And of course, I Don't Like Sand, still absolutely a mathematical chance here. They can keep up this run of points they've gotten a little lately. They could really stifle Scott Perry's team, who I'm sure were totally ready for a nice easy victory as that pull lands and sits in the back of the end zone.
Sibley and Ortega decide to travel down the field as De Hollander finds it now. She has Fleming underneath, but nice work on the mark. Stops the around throw, and we've got a call.
Looks like that's an uncontested foul on the mark there.
Lee is very deep as she'll work to come back under. Ortega. Lee goes back deep. Fleming to Ortega. Ortega now launches. He's got Lee in the vicinity. It's over the head of the defender. Redwell.
Yeah, Leong just expecting that to draw, coming really far under that disc, and it's sailing overhead. As we see the celebrations coming out yet again. Incredible scenes.
A little bit uncoordinated, and they end up going for the nativity scene, I think. That's an interesting choice.
Of course, Australian Beach National Championships is celebrated as a religious holiday among some groups. And with that, Scott Perry take the game 10-6. Just playing a pretty dominant performance. Looked just a lot better on the long shots and were able to complete a few more easy goals. And I Don't Like Sand having really to work for everyone, and that's borne out in the final score. So got much more exciting ultimate coming to you this afternoon as we finish off our pool play and then go into semis and finals. I've been Rob Swan.
I've been Max Stenstrom. Thanks for joining us.
Alti.tv